Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of the Sacred She Soul Sessions. This is a book club episode. I'm so blessed that we have the author of The Soul Searcher's Handbook, Emma Mildon, who's joining us here live today. So welcome, Emma, and thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure is all mine. I'm tuning in from sunny New Zealand, so it's an honor to be talking to you all.
Absolutely. I'm so excited. So today we're going to talk a little bit about your book, a little bit about you, and for anyone that's joining us live, feel free to pop questions in the comments as we go through during this chat. If you had a question about Emma's book or just her in general or any of the things that we talked about throughout the book club this month, just pop it into the comments and we'll answer them as we're chatting. So Emma, if you want to tell us maybe just a little bit more about yourself, because you have such an interesting background in history.
Yeah, so I am the girl next door, legit. Like, I'm very much like you girls. I decided one day that I'd love to write a book, and the journey to writing a book was a completely different story. But what I hadn't realized was really everything that had happened in my life before that had kind of painted the most magical roller coaster ride I'm sure we've all had, hands in the air, process to getting to write a book. So my background is I'm adopted. The mother that adopted me passed away. I've traveled the world, became a bit of a lone ranger, a soul searcher. And when I was traveling, I found myself becoming more spiritual without even really being quite conscious of it, actually. I was very an unconscious, conscious soul. And while I was traveling, I would go to Ireland and learn how to read tea leaves, or go to South America and get smacked in the face with a shaman and a branch, or learn astrology or learn numerology, experience a path-life regression, Reiki, crystals, yoga, the whole thing. And what I didn't realize while I was traveling the world and emptying out my bank account was I was researching the Soul Searcher's Handbook. So that's a bit about me.
I love it. So can you tell us, for everyone that's watching, what is the Soul Searcher's Handbook and what is a soul searcher?
Good point. So I feel like everybody is a soul searcher on the scale of things. So the Soul Searcher's Handbook was a book that I wrote actually for me, really selfishly, when I was starting to kind of get to the next step in my spirituality. So when I started to explore spirituality, there were all these books that were really bossy and had really stern opinions on how you should be and what you should believe in. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a millennial and I hate being told what to do. So most of the time I'd get 10 pages in and put it down and kind of get frustrated that there wasn't a book that kind of let me choose my path and journey. So I kind of pieced together, weaved together every book that I kind of started and ironically had to finish because I had to research to do the book, and really wanted to kind of make a book for soul searchers. So soul searchers by definition are people who are spiritual that don't really subscribe to labels. And my big belief is that there's no right or wrong. No one knows more than the next person. We all know what we're meant to know. We're all curious and what we need to be curious in, and that's okay. So it was kind of making a book that broke down all those barriers and labels and BS, so that you could kind of DIY, pick from the menu, build your own sense of belief and explore whatever you wanted to. So that's the Soul Searcher's Handbook. And really Soul Searcher's Handbook.
I love it. I love it so much. And in our communities, we've worked through this book. I already had it and read through it, but it's been so good just to go back through, because I really think that we are all on this spiritual journey and pathway where we're always learning new things. So when you read something once, if it does really resonate and you go back and you read it again a couple months later, I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that, or maybe I'm ready to explore more of this now. So like to have this packaged up handbook that really speaks to us, where you're right, it's not in that way where you must think this or you must think that. It's so nice to have that to refer back to just as you continue to evolve on this journey.
Totally, and I agree. Even I have it by my bedside table, and I'll have a dream or become obsessed with the color, and even I use it like that because obviously you can't remember everything and you can't know everything. So having a guidebook, yeah, even I have to go back to my own work sometimes.
I love that. And so did you find that you were always on this spiritual kind of soul searching journey, like right from when you were little, or is this something that you started on when you were a little bit older?
Yeah, I think my family would describe me as a black sheep and probably a little bit quirky and weird because they're really conservative, and on the scale of spirituality, on the woo-woo scale, they are at a -10. So I've always been spiritual, but I haven't really understood that. So when I was a little girl, my bedroom was a vibrant blue, like an aggressive blue. And I had pictures of orcas and dream catchers and fairy figurines and crystals and seals and incense. And I would collect a magazine every week where most people would collect dinosaurs, and you build the dinosaur as you go. I was collecting tarot cards, which is weird. So my parents were great in the fact that they let me stay weird. You know, I should have been living in Portland. But I didn't really get spiritual until my mum got diagnosed with terminal cancer. And that really actually snapped me awake in life, like happens to many of us. Sometimes we need that crossroad, that turning point, the shift and transition when you're really starting to step into a next step in your evolution. And her getting sick, while it was horrible, life experience and self-development wise changed my life in a very positive way. So we started talking about death and ghosts and the afterlife and healing, because unfortunately nothing was going to save her. But what could we explore in the meantime? Crystals and Reiki and things that had always been taboo in our house suddenly weren't. And it was a completely different way to live. And, you know, when she passed away, it was really interesting because we'd had that exploration together and we soul searched together and we'd explored everything and discussed about everything. Her passing over was definitely sad, but it was a different experience for me because I felt like we'd made peace together. It was interesting. So the ways that soul searching can help in any life experience is definitely something that is worthy of, I think, for me anyway, putting months and months and almost years into writing and creating that book was so worth it because, yeah, that's beautiful.
How long did it take to write your book?
Yeah, so it took me probably about a good year to write it together, about 2 years to research, and within that too, about 2 years of solid rejection, like solid. Like my inbox was where dreams went to die. So it was like a graveyard of hope. So I got rejected by over 300 publishers in the journey to try and get this book out to the world. And I was so close to giving up. And I was really lucky. I connected with a literary agent who thought my accent was really, really cute. And, and she liked the fact that I was different in the sense that I was passionately, not angry, but I was kind of like, no, who says that there's a spiritual hierarchy or a way that we have to be or a category that we need to fit in? Like, no. And yeah, within a few weeks I had a publishing deal with Simon & Schuster, which I still pinch myself. I still can't believe it. And even now with my second book about to come out in July, I still am beyond humbled at the experience of being able to work with such a great publisher.
Yeah, I'm really excited about your new book. Can you tell us just a little bit about that one?
I'm so excited about my new book. It's like all I talk about. My boyfriend hates it. And I just got this week an advanced copy. So Evolution of Goddess. It's weird. So it's laid out similar to Soul Searcher's Handbook. So it's got the call outs. It's got all the guides. It's got all the tips. It's got, you know, fun and quirky things. You can read it bit by bit, page by page, or or from front to back, like, again, no rules.
Mm-hmm.
And again, very playful in the sense that it's not bossy, but then also informative. You know, it's so weird. So this book, I wrote this 3 years ago. And at the time, I was so angry because publishers were telling me that it would take just as long to publish Evolution of Goddess as it would Soul Searcher's Handbook. And I thought it would be faster. I wanted it to be out like that year. And I felt a real sense of urgency. So I was waking up in the middle of the night in hot sweats. And I get emotional thinking about it. It's so weird. But I felt like something was about to happen. And I felt like the feminine book that wasn't feminist, it's feminine, there's a difference. It's not angry, it's not about fight, it's about, you know, understanding how we've evolved both spiritually from women who have probably finished this book and are ready for the next thing, but also as ancestors and humans and as a society. I wouldn't have predicted that everything in those 3 years would have gone down. Like Trump, Oprah, you guys know the drill. You guys live it, yeah. So Evolution of Goddess actually couldn't come out at a more better time. This book has a pulse, I swear. I have evolved so much writing it. I have deleted it twice on purpose so that it is just, yeah, the most amazing read. And I'm almost tempted just to buy a whole pile of copies and give them away. I'm that excited about this book.
I love that. Have you found, curiously too, with your writing, as someone myself who does a lot of writing, and I know a lot of women in this community are either they're writing on their websites, their blogs, they're creating content, they are writing books, whatever it is. I found for me, and I've heard from a lot of people, like it's almost like you're just allowing source energy or whatever you want to call it to flow through you when writing. And is that something that you've experienced with your writing as well, where it almost just kind of comes through you, if that makes sense?
You're amazing. Yes, 100%. So Soul Searcher's Handbook, I didn't actually want to put my name on the cover of the book. And it was a big tug of war with the publisher because I felt like I had channeled it and it wasn't my message. I was just, you know. I got educated that I was chosen in my voice and that this is life and you have to do that. Which was a good lesson, but it's so interesting because I definitely do channel. I sit down at my desk 6 a.m. in the morning and I write until probably 12. Like Cinderella, as soon as it clocks into the afternoon, my brain goes to mud and I'm out. And I would eat or drink, you just become this transient space and you go back. I mean, do you guys find this? You go back and you read your work and you're like, what? I didn't know that. And you have to kind of revert there and reference and work it out. Isn't it just the most humbling experience to be someone else's puppet?
Yeah, absolutely.
I definitely feel like different guides were with me writing Evolution of Goddess. I felt like there was kind of like a grandma, you know, I don't know, like a sassy New Orleans grandma vibe. Like they were all older women, and ancient women. Like I felt like a very like the tribal drum, and I got obsessed with darker things like spiders and snakes and things that give me the heebie-jeebies. I became really interested in, and yeah. So I think I would love to know if people feel like sometimes when they work on different projects, if different people show up, because it's such a cool experience.
I can definitely relate, and I think it's so cool, and you can look back at something and be like, who wrote this? I'm curious too, just in regards to the Soul Searcher's Handbook, if someone is super new, like they're really just starting their soul searching journey and exploring different areas, like where would you suggest that they start? Like, is it a matter of just going where you're pulled to, or do you find there's certain areas that are great for someone who I guess would be a beginner on their journey?
Totally. So I feel like if they stopped and thought about it, they'd probably become aware of clues that they've already been getting. So the nagging auntie that's trying to make you read a book, or the retargeting ad that keeps showing up on your Facebook feed, or the friend that just randomly suggests something that you've always kind of wanted to try. Yeah, I think it's the first thing to do is just to become a bit of aware of the clues. I feel like sometimes there's spiritual breadcrumbs that kind of get dropped, and most of the time we're so busy, you know, doing whatever busy is, that we forget that there's all these clues. There's songs and numbers and messengers. Like people, I've had the most amazingly grumpy, awkward. I wouldn't. Who am I to define spirituality and whether someone's spiritual or not? But you know, people that probably aren't into spirituality give me the biggest clues on my spiritual journey. So my biggest tip wouldn't be to worry about what necessarily it is. It might be yoga, crystals, a book, a course, meeting different people, but more listening, you know, becoming conscious and trusting your gut, because yes, your guides are rolling their eyes at you right now going, lady, we've told you so many times, like, do we have to throw the book at your face? Like, read it. So yeah, I would just say just become a bit more aware in your day and really honor the clues that are given to you.
Absolutely. I'm just seeing what Courtney here just said. So in her coaching session, she uses this book as a tool and a reference to show the many ways there are to seek magic in every day. Ooh, I love that, Courtney, because yeah, this is the kind of book you can just flip to a page and then you'll kind of see what it is calling you that particular day.
Yeah, Courtney, your cat is so cute. I felt like I was just up against the screen trying to look at your cat.
Oh, Courtney's awesome. So with this book too, like what would you define as as spirituality in general? Because how would you say that social conditioning fits into that? Because this is something I find that we talk a lot about, is whether someone's come from a really religious background or they were really raised spiritual. There's a lot of conditioning that goes on around that. So do you think that plays much of a factor? And did you notice that when you were writing your book?
100%, yes, of course it does. And I experienced conditioning in all of its extremes when I was writing the book, because I wanted to get everyone's contribution. You know, I wanted to get the people that I had learned from to promote their work and how other people find their work. And it was really eye-opening seeing that some of the people that I truly admired and had on a spiritual pedestal maybe lived different values than maybe what they presented, or people that I would ignorantly assume aren't spiritual but totally are, and have a secret yin and yang tattoo on their butt. You know, like, yeah, it's amazing when you actually start to come out of the spiritual closet and have conversations with people that everybody is spiritual, everybody. And if you drop away like a towel, you're naked, right? You're just having a chat to someone, you will totally find a commonplace, something spiritual-esque, minus the labels that someone kind of will believe in. And it doesn't necessarily need to be a type of God. It could be they believe in soulmates. They might believe in ghosts. You know, it is healing in different things, or emotions and how that might make them sick. All these things. People are becoming a lot more aware and open and exploratory. Everyone's soul searching. And I think if you understand that the labels are just different language, you know, we speak in different languages, we can call things different names, but at the source of it, underlying energy of it, it's the same thing. I think when you can see that common thread between you, you can really focus on the unity of it all and have a way nicer conversation and start teaching each other and sharing wisdom and information, rather than raising an eyebrow and pretending you're some spiritual snob. You know, I don't think, I don't know any more than you do. And you teach me so much. You know, I've learned stuff from the lady over the fence. Everybody can teach me. You know, you don't have to learn from a guru.
I love that.
Yeah, and I think people, particularly millennials, I freaking love all us millennials are finally going, who says? Like, who do you work for? Who do you report to? Like, who's told you all this stuff? And I think we're really starting to shake the world up in the most wonderful way that kind of is liberating in a sense that people can believe in whatever they want to believe. And when people believe in things differently, the whole world changes with that. And it's bloody exciting.
That's beautiful. On that topic too, how do you deal with judgment? Because I mean, writing and releasing a book, it's always great when we put out that energy that we can learn from everybody, but how do you deal with like negative criticism and people that are maybe verbally judging or not supporting you on what you've been doing?
Totally. Okay, I'm going to be so honest with you guys because no one told me this when I was writing a book, and I wish someone did. So it is so freaking scary, and it doesn't get easier. So first book, I pretty much had to be talked off the publishing ledge because the night before my book went out to reviewers, I said, actually, I didn't write this book for anyone to read it. I changed my mind. This has been fun. Bye, sort of conversations. And a lot of writers do it because I think you spend so much time playing mental ninja with yourself, trying to convince yourself that you can even do it, and then you do it, and then you try and get it published or you self-publish, and then that's a whole new arena that you're in. And then it is about to go out to the world, and the fear well and truly shows up because, I mean, we're our own worst critics, but you just think, you feel so vulnerable. And if you are so truly passionate about what you've written, the idea of it letting people down, like it makes me emotional, breaks you. And so I would tell you to move through that and to know that that is always going to be there. Even on my second book, I am just as shit scared. Because when you get the emails from the people who your book found exactly when they needed to, or it made them crack the door to spirituality just a little bit more, it's worth it. And I have had 99% positive, and like the handful of people that have sent me hate mail or called me Illuminati or said that I'm a witch or whatever happens, it's, you know, I hang on to it and it upsets me and I deal with it and I move on. It doesn't really get easier, and of course it hurts and it sucks, but you kind of just have to acknowledge it and let it go. And again, use it as a tool to be like, okay, you're allowed to believe in whatever you want to believe in. That's kind of the point of the book, so maybe you should read it. All good.
Absolutely. And did you find, in contrast to that, like I know you mentioned, you know, you were going to put the book out and then you're like, oh my God, I don't know. Did you find quite a bit of hitting that upper limit problem, like where you were self-sabotaging and just really having those self-doubts about going through with it, especially in the process of the writing all the way up until the end?
Oh, you guys, anyone that writes anything, whether it's an emotional email to someone to get off your chest, or an article, or a short story, or a whole book, it's hard and it is confronting. And if you do that, you are brave, and you need to stay in that space when you know that, yeah, being creative, you've birthed something into the world, and that is totally a vulnerable situation, you know. So yeah, I'm just shocked that it doesn't get easier, because I really kind of marched into Evolution of Goddess thinking, oh, it's going to be way easier. And I'm actually more scared because I feel like, well, what if people don't like it and I should have stopped at Soul Searchers and I'm letting them down? And oh man, the chick in my head is busy telling me stuff. So everyone has
it never really stops, does it? It never stops.
Yeah.
But I feel like that really means that we're doing great things when we feel that pushing of the comfort zone where we're getting really uncomfortable. It means that we're continuously growing. And I see Carrie's asking us, if you had to choose one practice to integrate into your daily life, what would it be?
Ooh, I didn't realize how much of a crystal and gemstone junkie I was until we went to edit Soul Searchers Handbook. And my editor was like, so you're really favoring crystals. So we actually had to delete probably half the book because every chance I could talk about crystals, I would. And that was kind of not the theme of the book. But yeah, I have crystals everywhere. Like, I'm just, even sitting right next to me now, I've got like 1 million different crystals, and this big guy, and I've got a problem. I find them like a holistic version of a stress ball. So if I am having a conflict with someone, which I'm not good at conflict, I'll have an onyx or a smoky quartz or a clear quartz with me to help me feel like I am cleared, I am confident, I am protected. If I am having an emotional, like at the moment I've had an emotional week, and rose quartz. I have rose quartz down my bra, I have it by my bed, I have it, you know, by where I write, yeah, or if I'm having bad sleeps, amethyst, you know, I just feel like whether it's a placebo or not, it helps me, it puts my mind at ease, it makes me feel more confident and like I can cope with what life might throw at me that day. So crystals are totally my my go-to.
Okay, awesome. And I see Courtney's wondering, do you smudge?
Self-love? Yeah, oh, do I smudge? Yeah, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and she's asking about self-love too. Yeah, both.
Yeah. Self-love, addict, yes. Chocolate, and I'm just getting my smudge sticks, sorry. Chocolate baths, massages, nails, walks on the beach. I've become really selfish at the moment with having time with my puppy dog. Let me show you here. Sorry, this is important. Luna. Oh. This is Luna.
Oh my goodness.
Hi, Luna. Say hi, everyone. Yeah. So I find her self-love is amazing because it's so unconditional. It makes me feel great. She's always happy with me. You know, she's amazing.
Oh
but
my goodness.
Smudging, I do. So I love white sage and also Palo Santo. But there's also some really great clearing sprays that you can make up. Eucalyptus, you can get Palo Santo essential oils. Orange, you know, in the morning helps you wake up, or you can add lavender for a nighttime spray. I also really like the, is it Orasoma sprays? You can get them in lots of different types, but I really like the white. Very clearing. Every morning I'm like around myself, walk through it, and I'm out the door. So yeah, love smudging.
I love that. And so what are your top evening rituals? Like, do you have anything that you believe works really, really well for you, whether that's journaling or meditating? Do you have some must-do evening rituals?
Yeah, do you know what's so interesting? I have lots of rituals, but no routine. So I think a lot of people define ritual as something that they do like a religion. But for me, on a day, it's what ritual do I need? So, you know, there's some days where the idea of meditation is just, no, I can't. Even though I know I totally need to do it, I can't. So I'll sit there and I'll have a cup of tea and be mindful of my cup of tea while I'm doing what I need to be doing and be at peace with that. I mean, writing for me is meditative. I would definitely say that it is a ritual. I have to do that every day. Otherwise, I'm not a good person. Yeah, but I really like transcendental meditation. Whether I do that every day, if I'm 100% honest, is not always the case. I am not a perfect, radiating, levitating being. So yeah, I wish sometimes people would go a lot more easy on themselves when it comes to rituals. You know, life changes, you change every day, circumstances change every day, and I think be at peace with what you need and listen to what you need, and don't beat yourself up and try to go against the grain, because that's not the point. That's not the point of it. So.
I love it. I'd love to hear your thoughts too, just around the general idea of sisterhood and women supporting women, just because I feel like that's such an interesting topic right now, this whole rise of the feminine. I'd love to hear your take just on that area.
Totally. So, and I so love talking about this, so rein me in if I go for too long back. Women supporting women is something that we're seeing to be completely mainstream. You know, like, you reach out to me, of course I'm going to support you guys. You guys have read my book. You've already supported me. This is a beautiful thing. For me, I think the idea of the rise of the feminine, it's not like a parting of the seas, but you can really see a shift in, again, that kind of old school mentality versus the millennials, and we're a little bit more inclusive. So when I think of particularly Evolution of Goddess, Like, it's not about being feminist, it's about being feminine. And there's a difference because everybody can be feminine. It's not just reserved for women, you know.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing in a lot of really powerful men who lead is them tap into their feminine nature of caring and nurturing and protecting. So, you know, Obama was the epitome of that. You know, he stood up for people when he needed it, and he wasn't afraid to be vulnerable, and he talked. And of course, no one's perfect. None of us are. But yeah, I think that's what I like. And what I like about it most is that it's not about a patriarchy winning or a matriarchy winning. It's about balance. So it's not about a war or a fight, because there's not a winner or a loser. That's young masculine mentality. We've evolved. We know that if it was an overthrow, it would be a hollow victory, and that's not what we want. We actually want to meet everyone halfway and evolve as a society. So I love seeing women who embrace other women and support other women in a balanced way. And that means not coming into feminine where it's all love and no do, too much yin. Not coming into masculine where it's, this is all the things we need to do, and it's a transactional business deal, and there's no relationship here, and I'll see you in 2 years, thanks, bye. You know, it's meeting that space in the middle where you can support each other, collaborate, build a relationship. You know, you actually genuinely want to support each other in so much more than just what you can hunt and gather from the relationship. It's about really showing up for each other, and that's what I love. So yeah, it's been interesting. I've had to really I've evolved in a lot of my, particularly my business relationships, because and even from the days that I did try to get Soul Searchers Handbook out there, because I'm probably 100% a self-confessed ex-hustler. You know, I used to be a real girl boss where I'm going to network, I'm going to email these people, I'm going to get out there, I'm going to get my book out there. Evolution of Goddess is different because I'm not working, but I'm not forcing anything, and I don't feel like I need to climb up anything or clamber over anything or hunt or sniff out. It flows, and it flows in, and it's so much nicer. And I think when you're in that balance, it is magic and way less exhausting.
So have you found with your personal growth and your kind of spiritual evolution as well that your friendships have kind of changed? Like maybe you still have some friends from before, because I think that sometimes we have friends that maybe don't really get what we're into, but we just have that special bond. But have you also found that you've evolved and attracted different types of friendships, new women, new friend groups as you've kind of moved along on your journey?
Totally, 100%. Yeah, I think the women that show up for me at the time that I need them is always just remarkable. And it is amazing the people who are going to show up and surround you when you have a book baby to birth into the world. And it takes a tribe, because when you hold your book for the first time, you're going to be excited, but the work just begins, because you have to market and you have to collaborate, and you have to make sure that the book is nourished and lives and grows and blossoms. And I see so many people create the most wonderful books and then abandon them. And yeah, so in that process, I have definitely learned a lot, and I've made a shit ton of mistakes, totally. And, you know, I think one of the biggest mistakes I made at the beginning was overly wanting to help people, like over the top. And I actually was taking away the journey for them, the experience for them. So I had to work out that balance. So I always still help people. So if people reach out to me and they say, could you show me your book proposal? I want to write a book proposal. Can you help me? 100%. Old Emma would have given the book proposal, introduced them to the agent, try to get them into the public, you know, and take away all that trial and tribulation and the working it out and landing where they're meant to land. So yeah, that's probably been my biggest lesson, because yes, women have fallen away, and I've had to work out, you know, people do business differently and neither's right or wrong, but sometimes they're not right for me, which is okay. So I've had to gracefully bow out of quite a few business relationships, but my core girlfriends have stayed pretty similar, and you'll be amazed at who kind of spiritually kind of cracks open in their own time.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with, I've noticed that too, where sometimes people are really feeling alone, like that they don't have people that can really relate to them and understand them. So sometimes I do feel like it's people who maybe weren't that aware of the things that we're becoming aware of, and now they are, or maybe we're meeting new people and attracting them into our circle as well.
Totally. And I think human conditioning, we all just want to belong. We all just want to be accepted and part of something. And I think if anyone is feeling lonely out there, they need to know that they're 100% not. They are part of a huge sisterhood. There are so many people in the community that could reach out to and would answer. I answer all my emails, and I answer them personally. Like, I don't outsource that stuff energetically. It is my energy going back to you. Yeah, and I think actually as women, we're guilty of trying to friend and tend to everyone else except for ourselves. And I think it's a powerful thing when you can say help, or I need a timeout, or I'm exhausted and I don't know why, or I'm feeling lonely and I just need some girl time or quality time or whatever. And I think the most vulnerable statements that I've seen, whether it's on social, in a blog, or in a book, have been incredibly rewarded with the applaud of people. So don't be afraid to speak your truth.
This has been so good, Emma. Just so many little nuggets of wisdom. I was wondering as well, is your new book out now? Like, where can people find it, if it's already up, or when is it going to be out?
Yeah, so I wish I could send you all personal copies right now, because I honestly would. Evolution of Goddess is out July of this year. You can pre-order it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Indie. But yeah, it is, yeah, I cannot wait. And honestly, I'll be doing some giveaways closer to the time. So yeah, keep an eye on my Facebook page, Emma Mildon, and hopefully I can hook you up with a copy.
Awesome, babe. I was wondering too, yes, where is the best place for everybody to follow you? I know they can follow you on Facebook. You have a website. What is the best way to stay connected with all of your updates and everything that you have going on?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much a self-confessed spiritual geek. So you can connect with me anywhere, like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, my website, all Emma Mildon, so emmamildon.com, at Emma Mildon. Yeah, you can hit me up. You can private message me on Instagram. I will answer. You can email me through my website. I will answer. And I don't care if you're wondering what kind of bra to put your crystal in, or if you want to find your next book. Like, don't be precious about what you send me. I just love connecting with like-minded souls and hearing feedback and, yeah, helping people.
I love that so much. Before we wrap up, can you tell me what is your #1 piece of advice for all of the women that are listening right now in regards to their soul-searching journey?
Oh, I would say stay curious. And it's a bit cliche, but I mean it in the sense that don't ever be deluded in thinking that you know everything, because that's impossible. And I think when you can look at life that, you know, I've learned something today, or I've learned a new skill today, or I've tackled that challenge in a new way, and have those moments where you can applaud yourself. You know, think of how many times we bring ourselves down, but actually acknowledge your growth and your involvement as a being is so cool. So yeah, stay curious, keep learning, stay open, don't judge, you know, just, man, you guys are already doing it. I mean, I think this group is divine, and yeah, I can tell that you all have beautiful things that you have to take into the world. So I cannot wait to read all your work.
Thank you so much, Emma. We're really blessed that you were able to come into our community today and share a little bit of your light. And I know I can speak on behalf of everyone of how much we've enjoyed working through your book. I'm sure we'll be working through your next one, and maybe we'll connect and get you back in here for Evolution of Goddess as well.
I would love that. I would love that. Thank you so much for making time for me, all you guys. It's equally my pleasure right back. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you everybody so much that was joining us today. And if you're catching this in the replay, make sure you drop a comment. Let us know that you were here. And this will be up on the YouTube channel later.